What's up, everybody? Welcome to another V Twin Lives Junction at the Crossroads. Tonight's pretty freaking cool. We got Riot, who started the Mile Monsters Inc., and then we got the legend, Mr. Chris Hopper, that did the 100 days, 100,000 miles, and raised. Now, I did hear you did make the goal of $100,000.
Yes, we did. It was just a shade over $100,000. We're still collecting some of that because Facebook has some pretty funky hoops to jump through, and some people that are donating. We're still getting it, but on paper we made the goal. So that's pretty awesome in itself.
That's awesome. So, what was the whole drive? I guess we can dive into Mile Monsters kind of first. Is what was the whole drive that got you going down this avenue to even start your foundation?
I started Mile Monsters a year ago. Right now, 1 year ago, I just was working on it. I kind of decided to do it in 2020 Hokahay, and when I was riding with Hopper, and I spent some time with K Solo, and he kind of pushed me over the edge, and was like, you got to take it to the next level. So we decided to do our own thing and raise money to fight Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And I really had the hopes that we would be able to branch off and get some other riders to join me in my cause, and reach out to find some kids in need. And I didn't have a master plan. I know this disease, and I just wanted to help some kids, starting with Jamesy, who I'd ridden for in the past. And I had planned to expand and just pick up riders and pick up other kids. And 2 months after we went live with Mile Monsters Inc., Hopper approached me about doing this ride, or a month after, I guess it was. And then Hopper approached me about doing this ride, and it just exploded from there. It went from hope and a dream to boom, you're on the map. A guy riding a world record ride for us, and joining the monsters and being the king of monsters is just an incredible stroke of luck on my behalf, that I happen to know somebody, and I happen to be friends with somebody that has such ability that could do such cool shit like that. So it was just a little bit of luck, but I tell everybody all the time, I'd rather be lucky than good. So I'm pretty fortunate.
Yeah. So, Hop, how did you kind of come up with this idea? Was it just, hey, I want to do something absolutely insane, or how did the whole idea of the 100 and 100,000 come up?
Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, this ride has been talked about by numerous people. I mean, there's a lot of great riders out there, and a lot of them have discussed it and talked about it and threw it out there, and kind of one of those, hey, someday I want to try to do this. But obviously, with a ride like this, you need a lot of time and some money to get work. The main thing, everyone's got jobs, and you just can't, everyone can't just take 90 days off or whatever, 100 days off, whatever it is. So I was fortunate enough to have the time, and I said, I'm just going to go ahead and pull the trigger. I was actually supposed to do it last year. And then Hokahay got pushed back to July, and I knew after that was over, that was getting too late in the year, just weather-wise. I knew there'd be a lot of places I wouldn't be able to go. So I said, this year, as soon as IBR is over, I'm gonna take off, and that's what I did. Like Riot said, I called him and we met up and talked to him about it. And I think at that time he didn't even have Mile Monsters, all the paperwork and everything. It wasn't like 100% official. I think everything was in the works, and by the time the ride started, he got everything all set and all good to go. So yeah, we just IBR was over. I took a little rest and loaded up my bike and took off.
Now, speaking of that, now your bike. Now, I know I'd always wondered. Now, you ran an extra base of your custom little fuel cell you had on the back seat. Is that 5 gallons?
5 gallons, yes.
So now, do you have a separate pump? So you hit a switch? Would that just pump right to your fuel tank?
Yeah, it's actually gravity fed. So I just have a ball valve on there. So when I got down to about roughly half a tank, I just reach back and open that valve, and it just drains into the main tank. So it's it's kind of depends on how you're riding. I guess if you were just sitting there, the bike not moving, it would take roughly, 20 to 30 minutes to fill. But as you're riding, you're going uphill. If you're going uphill, nothing's going into the tank. So, curves, twisties, uphill, downhill, whatever. So on average, it take anywhere between an hour and a half to actually drain the whole thing, just depending on how, what kind of roads you're riding.
So what'd that take your mileage to between, having to basically fill up both tanks?
Roughly 400. So I was always filling up between that 350 and 400 number. And that's about as long as you want to go. It's time to get off the bike then.
Yeah, a little stretch. And
yeah.
So what do you think? What was some of the? Go ahead, Riot.
I was going to say that's as long as Hopper wants to go. The average Joe does not want to go 400 miles. So he says that's as far as you want to go. Like when I rode with him, I do not have an extra fuel tank, and I would have shot him if we would have went 400 miles between stops. So, so you got to take that with a little grain of salt when he says that's as far as you want to go without stopping.
So how many places did you get to fish? I noticed, following the adventure, you had, your little pole you took with you and fishing here and there.
Yeah, I didn't fish as much as I wanted just because of all the other stops. And some of the stops I made were way longer than I'd planned on. So I fished a few times, but, didn't really have a whole lot of time. So I could do that anytime. So some of these other stops that I really wanted to see that, who knows when I'll be able to make it back to them. So some of the sites were the priority. I kind of put fishing on the back burner or behind those.
I gotta say it was pretty cool. I can't remember the guy's name who did hold the IBA record with 45 days. How
Matt
you guys
Wise.
met up. Yeah, and you met up and actually got a ride together the day, when you surpassed his, and to see the camaraderie within the motorcycle community, I thought, that was pretty freaking awesome.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. And I'd wanted to reach out to him before, just to see if there's, anything that he found on a trip like that. Cause obviously no one has done a ride like this, but he's got the record. So I just wanted to see if there was any tips he had, but I also didn't want to let the cat out of the bag to anyone until it was time to go. Partly because of what happened on his ride and his story. But like the day I announced it, I think that next day I reached out to him and told him, hey, I'd love to ride with you on day 45 and all that. And he was absolutely gung ho for it. And it was amazing. And that was one of the highlights of the trip, just being able to do that. And like you said, just the camaraderie and the support and seeing everyone behind it like that was amazing. And we rode all day that day.
That's pretty freaking awesome. What do you think is one of the big highlights of, well, I'm sure there's got to be more than a few, but, that it really brings back to, you can think about things, whether it makes you laugh or, emotion-wise or whatever, that really took you in on the trip?
Yeah, there's just a list of things that I would consider highlights and things like that. Every time somebody came out to ride with you, that was great. That was a nice little boost, kind of keep you going, extra little burst of energy or whatever. So having people meet up and put a few miles in, that was always amazing. Just some of the incredible scenery that I saw, and the pictures don't do it justice. Everybody knows that. So there's plenty of things, just some little stops along the road that you take a picture of that just, just amazing. There were a couple stops. There's quite a few pictures that I didn't even post, places I went. One of the ones was I don't know, and I caught it on the fly. It wasn't planned. It was like the Flintstones park or whatever, back in the day. So I went and took a bunch of pictures of that, but they just they didn't look very good. I figured everyone would dog me if I posted those pictures, so I didn't put them up. But just seeing all kinds of things out there, just amazing. There's just tons of highlights out there.
I say, your record with the police wasn't too bad. You came out on the positive side of that.
I did. And I went a little bit over. I expected I was going to get stopped, 7 to 9 times, and I was going to get a couple of tickets just because I know how I ride. So I expected some, but I got stopped a few more times than what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I guess, when you're out there that long, pushing that many miles, it's bound to happen.
Sure. Absolutely. Especially on those back roads.
Yeah, the back roads is, I think anybody rides, way more enjoyable than hitting the super slabs where it's just Mach 1 forever with not much to see. You get that back roads and little 2 lanes where you can find happiness, you find small America, and you really enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I'll say about the riding the back riding the back roads, you're saying that how much Hopper enjoys that. Some people don't understand though that doing 1,000 miles a day is day after day is amazing feat to go see anything. If I was going to do this ride, I would be just super slamming it and say I did it, or Hopper going to check this stuff out. For the guys that ride, they understand it, but people watching this that don't ride a lot are like, oh, that's nice, go do some sightseeing. But it takes a lot of hours in a day to get 1,000 miles, and the more you sightsee and the more back roads you're on, the longer that takes. So that's what in my mind made this trip so incredible, was not just bombing highways, because I'll go sightseeing and do that for 10 days, but then I'm exhausted. So for somebody to do that kind of riding for 100 days, just as that's what really makes this next level, crazy insanity.
Yeah. Well, here's a good one. Jason Setzer, how much of the whole trip was planned versus how much was winged or figuring it out as you went?
Yeah, so when I started out, I had 2 days planned, just the first 2 days. And my main thing, day one, was to get up and get to Beartooth Pass, just because, if you ride, you got a short window. And I was, what we thought, what typically when it closes, I was kind of coming up on the tail end to where it could close at any day. So I wanted to get that out of the way. It wound up staying open way later than it usually does, but that was, Yellowstone and Beartooth, that was the first day. And after that, 100% of it I was winging it. And that's how I ride. So, there's not a whole lot of planning at all.
What I think go along with like what Riot was saying, it's cool to see some of the videos you post where, say some of the national parks, you did take the time to also see some of the scenery and some of the places instead of just, pound a mile trying to meet your goal. But you did try to take a little bit of time to enjoy some places, which, like you said, when are you ever going to get back to some of these areas? So actually trying to spend a little bit of time and, enjoy yourself a little bit too, I think was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the goal from the beginning. I knew I would be close if I missed it. And I told a few people who were, calling me and texting me, telling me I need to ride more and stop, not make as many stops or whatever. But my whole thing, and I stuck true to it, was I want to have fun. I want to see a lot of stuff. And the way I rode it and the stuff I saw, if I came in short at 95,000 miles or 94,000 miles, whatever it is, I don't think anyone would call it a failure. I could have, if I would have just rode on highways, I would have wound up at 110, 115,000, somewhere in that mark, pretty easy. So, the goal from the beginning was to have fun, see a lot of stuff, try to make it enjoyable for the people watching. If you're just blasting up and down the highway, the people that are following, there's really nothing for them to see. It's, there's no reason for them to get up and check the tracker and check Facebook and see what's going on. I was trying to make it enjoyable for everyone.
Well, you're also the one riding it. And if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then, it kind of defeats the purpose. So I think, taking the extra time to see some of these places and enjoy yourself is a huge part of it because that was that long, that many miles is quite the toll to take on yourself mentally, physically. And I think you got to try to also take some of that time and make sure that you're enjoying it and, having fun. I know you doing this for an amazing cause. You're riding these miles, but you're doing it for a greater good, but you also kind of want to enjoy what you're doing also, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That was, like I said, the goal was to have fun and, raise a bunch of money, try to hit our goal. I think when me and Riot first met up and talked, just kind of set it out there. Like, let's just, let's set a big number to raise some money. And I had told Riot and a couple other guys that, they posted fundraisers, and I think Riot did one, and I think he set his goal at 3,000 or something, 2,000. I don't remember what it was, but I even told him, like, dude, that's a ridiculous goal. You'll smash that the first day. So you need to step up your game and, put a bigger number out there. And sure enough, I think he wound up at like 12,000 or something. So yeah, so that I kind of followed my own advice and tried to keep the theme at 100,000 miles, 100 days, raise $100,000. So that was kind of my thinking. And it took to the very end. It was looking like I wasn't going to hit it there towards the end. I was kind of bummed about that, but we wound up getting across the finish line.
That's awesome. Then also, see the time like when you stopped down in Texas, helping the family out and whatnot, taking time going down that way, Riot, you ended up going down there, meeting up with them. And I mean, that was kind of a cool whole little event to see. And, and for myself, I mean, I'm sure many other guys that were following on Facebook and following the adventures to, take time what you're doing, but in a way it's part of why you're riding it. And, that was pretty neat.
Yeah, the riding with when Hopper rode down was awesome because I went down to Texas and one of the boys that we were riding for, Gavin, is an artist. He's 7 years old, but he is a 7-year-old artist and he does really cool stuff, really cool drawings. And I hit him up. I wanted a tattoo, so he made me 5 drawings and I got to pick one. And of course, I picked a goat because that's his nickname. But it was awesome for Hopper to be there and we brought the family up to Fort Worth and, the monsters put them in a hotel and, let them forget about Duchenne muscular dystrophy for a weekend. Let them see bikers and let them see the coolest cat in the town, Hopper riding for these guys. And, the kids, they can't quite fathom what's going on because, they've never met me. They've never met Hopper. And here's a guy out there riding around the country talking about him on videos and, the videos I put together talking about these kids, it really means a lot to them. So, and then to actually have Hopper stop in while he's doing this ride, kids just think they're out for a ride. They don't understand the magnitude of it, but parents do, people do. And that was really cool. And, it was awesome to see results from his ride right then and there, showing Gavin the town, letting them live a little bit without this disease and then going right from there to California to Turbo. It was just, an incredible week and a half for me, for Mile Monsters, it was, and for Hop to incorporate all that into this massive ride was just next level cool. That was, really, really something, and when people, you look at it from the bigger picture, he's in Texas, he's in Cali, back in Texas, while he's doing this ride. It's not like I did it where I just like, yeah, I'm tired. I just stopped at the Grand Canyon, got a hotel and slept. And, he's doing 1,000 miles a day and providing a kid with a van and providing, Gavin the stuff. So it was incredible to see.
That is pretty cool. Now, here's another question. We got somebody chiming in. What was your highest of highs and your lowest of lows for the trip?
Again, as far as the highs, there was just, every day was a high. It was just an amazing trip. And I guess if you had to pick some out, one, going out to see Turbo and delivering, some basically the van and the check to them and meeting them and actually getting to spend some time with them. That was in Gavin too in Texas. That was, I guess those were two big things because, when you're raising money or people that donate money, you send your money off and that's kind of the end of it. You don't really get to see the fruits of your labor, what you're donating to, here, people, they donated money and they got to see exactly where it went, see the individuals, see us spending time with them, hanging out. And it just created kind of a snowball effect to these kids. They've been sent other gifts by other people. A friend of mine, Birdman, made, the necklaces, cross necklaces, for him. Robert Sanook sent him, his challenge coin, some other stuff. Other people actually know these kids and know their name and reach out to them and comment on their post. And I just think, that's just kind of amazing to be a part of. I wouldn't say leader, but I guess the one who kind of took that first step to that and the introduction, if you will, or whatever, along with Riot. And it was just, that was a cool part. As far as lows, luckily, thank God, there was no mechanical issues. The worst thing was I had 2 nails in my tire 2 separate times. So, but even those were dead center, super easy to plug, super easy to find. Wasn't that big a deal other than, maybe a 20-minute delay. So, I didn't have anything to worry about then. I did have one day, which was my lowest day. It was just one of those days where my body was done, like get off the bike. I couldn't go more than 100 miles without stopping. I'd make up a reason to stop, bathroom or just walk around, gas, just whatever I could do. I just, for starting off in the morning, I think that day I was started off at, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning. And I just, every 100 miles, I was just wanting to pull over. I was just kind of miserable riding. Not miserable in the sense that, oh, I want to quit, I'm not going to finish this. It was just that day that I just got to get off this bike. So I start running numbers in my head and, punching in a calculator, how far it's going to put me behind and all this stuff that goes through your head when you're on a timed ride. And I finally just made the decision, you know what, I gotta stop. I got to get off this bike, and I'll just go get, a good amount of sleep and get up the next day. And being so much fresher, I think I'll be able to make up a lot of time over the next few days. Because that was around day 50 something. I don't remember exactly, but I did. So I barely hit 600 miles and I had to get off. But the next day, some good rest. I was good to go and able to make up the miles, and here we are.
I know I had one other question sent in. A guy wanted to know, how did you do your services? Did you call ahead kind of when you get down, kind of figure out a region of where you're going to be, find a Harley shop and get in touch with them prior to being there to handle some of the service intervals?
Yeah, so all the service are done at my home dealer, Republic Harley Davidson in Stafford. They're very supportive. They take care of me. So whenever it was time to get service, and every 10,000 miles, basically, I was swinging back through there for service. So I had ordered 10 sets of tires before. So I had tires waiting there whenever I needed. But yeah, services, I just, I'd send a text that, hey, I'll be there tomorrow for service. And, they would get me in and get me out. A few times I would use that as my, as a rest. So while they were servicing the bike, I'd go upstairs and sleep on the couch. One time I got there a little bit early, so I just threw my mat out. I was sleeping in the parking lot till they got there. So it worked out pretty easy, and they stepped up and got me in and out as quick as possible and got me down the road.
That's cool. I know there was, I've been talking with a bunch of different guys, and now it's kind of seemed to be a common question amongst everybody else's, how you handling the service intervals. So that was cool.
Yeah, so I did 2 times on the road. Kind of my thing is, obviously, I trust my dealer, and I only wanted one set of hands working on my bike. I don't want to, have to stop into some dealer I'm not familiar with and then go to the next one and they tell me, oh, you got a problem, somebody did this wrong or whatever. So just wanted one person, the guys I trust to take care of it. I did stop in at Rock City Harley Davidson in Arkansas 2 different times for an oil change. So they made a donation to Mile Monsters, and they took care of me there. They're another great dealer that I trust. So I did get 2 oil changes there just so I wouldn't have to go all the way back home. So I could kind of stay out on the road.
That's cool. Now, I know there's one thing I was always curious, right? I forgot to ask in the beginning. What was your decision to make, your fight with Duchenne's? How did that come about?
That came about in 2018 when I rode in my first Hoka. They encouraged the Hoka encourages you to ride for a charity, and I rode for a friend of mine whose son has Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and I'd never known of the disease, and it really just kind of blossomed from there. I rode for Jar of Hope and raised money for Jamesy, and then as I did that, it just grew. So every year I did something, I did a race against time, which was the 48 states in 8 days. And I did, another Hoka, and I've done, a bunch of things now. But anyhow, I just got to know a bunch of kids with Duchenne, and I know how terrible the disease is. So I was really motivated to ride for them. And it just kind of really grew to what it is now, where we're riding for these, multiple kids and, doing great things for them like this, and this ride of hoppers has really blossomed it out. We've taken money in, and we've already paid a lot of money out to great things, and we got some other great things coming. Like, we're going to Texas the last weekend in January, and we're going to Gavin's school to have a Gavsy the Goat Day. So we're going to go there, and we're going to provide the entire school with shirts that for Gavin. And it's just a day I'm going to dress the entire school, an elementary school. And what we're going to do is, address the school. So some of these kids get, bullied a little bit or just not treated right because this is a muscle wasting disease. So they're not as athletic as the other kids. They're not as fast. So kids just kind of can be a little bit mean. So what we're going to do is go down there and we're going to have a little seminar at the school. So things like that just go a long ways. We'll have some videos about that, but the money donated provides just such a better life for these kids. I can't even explain it. I'll never be able to thank Hopper enough for doing a ride like this and generating this much energy towards Duchenne and fighting it and raising money to do that. It's such a life changing for these kids. I can't even express enough that everybody donates, and people donated $10 or $10,000, whatever. It all adds up, and it all really changes lives. It's not just a magical thing, where we're just taking it in and handing out a high five to these kids. This is life-changing events for these kids. So, we just encourage the kids to live their best life, and that's what we're doing. So that's how we got into it, and that's where it's going to.
That's cool, because I never actually heard the kind of the backstory of how you decided to, I think in better terms, is pick a fight with Duchenne's, and it's neat to hear that.
Yeah, and it's I was fortunate. I spent my life coaching baseball, football, and wrestling, and some girls softball as well. So, and I was fortunate. I coached kids that were elite athletes, and coached kids who won state championships and won state titles and all kinds of things. And then, I decided to ride a motorcycle for a cause, so we can raise money to fight a disease so a kid can ride a pedal bike, and I would explain to the kids I coached, this is, not everybody has your talents, and some people are born with these terrible diseases. And, for a kid not to be able to ride a bike, and for a kid not to be able to, run the bases one time in their life, it's like, this work is important because we can, make their life better. It might not hit a home run, but at least they can have some cool things in it along the way. So, that's what we're up against. I just think the disease is horrible. I hate diseases that attack little kids like this. So, we'd like to step in and, help them live their best life.
That's cool. I like it. Well, here's one. So you said you were expecting 7 to 9 stops and went over it. Sets or pendulums are curious. What was your final number when it came to visits with the outstanding law enforcement officers of the country?
Stopped 14 times, 3 tickets. So I already have one of them dismissed. I'm working on the other 2. One of them will for sure stick. I'm not sure about the other one. So
that's good.
Yeah.
And we had to we were making a trophy for Hopper to come in. And we made him a trophy when he was coming in, and I made the trophy, but he wasn't done getting stopped yet. So the trophy was wrong. So we have to put an X on it. Now add a couple stops, because when I ordered the trophy, he was at 12 stops. So when he got in, the trophy was wrong. So he's like, "Hey, you didn't even get the stops right." I'm like, "I had to order the damn trophy ahead of time, and I should have sent him a text, like, I will get you a damn trophy, and it's gonna have 12 on it. So now you got to do the damn speed limit." So that was kind of funny.
Yeah,
that is good. I like it. So you think you'll ever attempt something similar after understanding what it, mentally took for you to do this and physically?
When I started out, I said if I finished this, it would just be a one-time event. But I'll tell you, I had so much fun. It was a blast. I would love to do it like every other year or whatever. Something like that. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So yes, I would definitely. I would love to.
200.
No.
Oh, I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah. I would love it. I'm
gonna try to encourage Hopper to ride for one whole year.
Yeah.
Ride.
I don't know if his wife would like that much.
That wouldn't go over very well.
Yeah, no kidding. So he's got any more big plans for Mile Monster events that are coming up in the near future?
Yeah, we're putting our calendar together right now. I'm working on that. I'll have it out probably the beginning of January. So I'm working on some sponsors, so we can get our brochures and things like that out. So I'm putting that all together. So I'm working on some events. We have people that want to join the Monsters. They're planning some events. So it'll all be on our website soon. But we don't have it dialed in. This year is a Hoka-Hey year, so that will be our main fundraiser will be the Hoka-Hey. So that's in July 26th, or June 26th, my bad. June 26th, we start out of Rapid City, South Dakota. So that will be our main event, but I'm going to have a couple more before that and one after that for sure.
Now, you doing the Hoka-Hey again this year, Cop?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So you can have a new bike, or you're going to retire this one as a sentimental piece and pick up another one?
I don't know. I may just use it and ride it, and see if it'll make it through that too. That'd be awesome to have a bike that's ridden 100,000 miles in 100 days and a Hoka-Hey finish.
Hey, that would be impressive. But I can only imagine, if the Hoka-Hey's in June, you got 6 months knowing your style. I mean, Jesus. No telling how many miles would be on it by the time you start the Hoka-Hey, though.
Yeah, I've got another bike. I've got actually 2 other bikes as well. So I'll try to spread it around a little bit.
So I know Setzer Penance was asking, I think we covered that. Didn't anything go wrong with the bike? And earlier, I think you were saying, mechanically, I think was just flawless for you.
Yeah, I had absolutely no issues with the bike whatsoever, other than the 2 flats. But yeah, mechanical wise, thank God, I just had no issues at all. Which
is awesome. I mean, especially when you're, on something like you did, mechanical issue like that could really have set you back and would have been a hard one to rebound from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, how many days did you go out and meet with him and ride on it, right? I know you guys hooked up. I remember you saying in Texas.
I met him right away at the beginning. I met him we were supposed to meet at Beartooth Pass, but when I got there, Beartooth Pass was closed, so I had to go around it on another pass. So we met there. I guess that would be Montana by the time we got together. But so that was at the beginning, and then we met in Minnesota and rode out to North Dakota, South Dakota, and then we met in Texas, and then we met out in California. I don't remember what else, but yeah. So we got a few times together. It wasn't as much as I would have liked it. That's a busy time of year for me, so it was it had me hopping a little bit, but it was awesome to watch, and I was happy to get out there when I did. And we put some good miles on together. We rode out to South Dakota from Minnesota, and we stopped and stayed at a friend's house in Mitchell, Shells, and so we got up in the morning. We started down the road to go see Craig at Wild Ass, who was set up out at Sturgis, and we started down the road. And I told Hopper, I said, we're going to be like way early to get to Sturgis. We might as well take a little detour. Craig was watching the trackers. We're coming down I-90, heading right towards Sturgis. And then Hopper and I took a right and took a, I don't know, what was it, 800-mile detour?
Yeah.
Went up to North Dakota and then down to South Dakota. And Craig says, from Wild Ass is like, I'm watching your tracker, and you 2 are the only 2 I've ever followed that are coming to meet me and take an 800-mile detour. So,
no, it's funny, though.
It was pretty fun.
Speaking of Craig, I'm sitting out here in the shop on my stool with my Wild Ass seat because they're fucking comfortable.
Oh, God, they're the best. They are the best. Some people can have a little tougher ass than I have. I guess I'm a little soft once I got on the East Coast, but I have my Wild Ass underneath me all the time. Otherwise, I'll just turn around and go home and get it. So it was fun meeting him, though. And that was a fun day of riding with Hop. We got to put a lot of miles on in the 2-3 days we rode together there. And then I went back to Minnesota, and he went down to get his bike service. But that was pretty cool. But it was just a funny story that we're going to South Dakota, and we went up to North Dakota on the way, and to watch his tracker was pretty funny to see that.
Yeah, it was a good time going over there and meeting with him. I mean, that was another time I think we spent 2 or 3 hours hanging out with them, got something to eat, and hung out there, and took off again.
But it's cool that the camaraderie, you guys really supporting. I think a lot of people supporting the adventure you took, Hop, and Riot just going everywhere to try to catch up, and not so much as be part of it, because I mean he is way a part of it, but enjoying the road and enjoying some of the adventures and sharing in it and bringing it all in.
Then there's something to be said when somebody does something so amazing like Hopper did. You want to be a part of it. Yeah, you want to be a part of that. So like to ride out there and meet up with him was just cool because he's doing something epic. And when you spend even 10 minutes, you feel like you're part of that epic ride. So, that was pretty cool. And I heard that from a lot of people, even watching it. Let them feel like they're part of something, greater than they've ever done before. So it was pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I know I've heard that, whether you want to touch on a Hopper, say anything, but, this has came out before that there was kind of some little issues or conflict when you'd reached out to, the man, Adam Sandoval. I don't know if you want to touch on any of that. That's totally up to you.
Oh, I don't mind at all. Yeah, I reached out to him because he's got a decent following on YouTube. I'm not sure why, but he does. I reached out to him, see if, I could come on his show and talk about the ride and talk about the charity and all that. And took some time, took a few emails or whatever. And this is in the middle of my ride. I think I was on it was like day 20 or something. So I'd already had a few miles under my belt. Finally agreed to meet with me. He wanted to meet at his campground. So I rode up there at the campground. And of course he was about 45 minutes late from showing up. So, had me out there waiting on him. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but we sit down and talked, and I told him what I was doing and what I wanted and all that. And, he just wanted to basically just, tell me there's no way I could do it. Wasn't going to complete it. He did a big ride and he knows what it takes. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I understand about your ride. Your ride was like 80,000 miles. I said, I've done over 80,000 miles in the last 4 years. So, as well as numerous other long distance riders. So, you did a good ride, but it's not like your ride wasn't really anything special. I said, I'll handle the riding part. I said, I'm really just here. I really want to get on your show, talk to your people. I know you got a good following and, talk about the charity and see if we can get some more donations going in. And he just wanted to keep on telling me about, I didn't know what I was getting into. And if I'd ever, ridden that long. And I think he questioned it at first, that if it was even real. But once I explained, look, I've got pictures of gas receipts beside my odometer from every single gas stop. I've got 2 trackers running. As far as the ride being real, I've got, absolutely proof that it is. So, but yeah, he wanted nothing to do with it. Adam is about Adam, and that's it. He's not going to help anybody else.
Which sucks, I mean, and here's a good one. Have you reached out after you completed it in the 100 days?
Nah, I'd put something on Instagram and kind of tagged him on it, but no, he's not going to respond. Like I said, he's all about Adam and what he can do, and he did one little ride in his lifetime, and he's still hanging his hat on that. So what has he done since then? He hasn't done anything. He's easy. I guess he's a good promoter. He's got a good following. I'll give him that. He's got some followers on YouTube, and I'm sure he's monetized on YouTube from what I could tell on his subscribers and watches. So, good for him. He's just not a writer.
Yeah, I know. I've heard about it. People message back and forth. Some guys I talked to. So, and it came up and I totally forgot about it. So, thanks for sharing it. It's like some people want to know, we all have our different things. Some guys claim, hey, you want to do this or great for these causes, like yada, yada, yada. But I guess when it comes down to it, you can see where their true colors are.
Yeah. And I'd heard from a couple of other guys who have reached out to him too for their rides and charity or whatever. And I had 2 or 3 people message me saying he did the same thing to them. And so, yeah, he's not out to help anyone but himself.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know what? You got the proof. You did what you did. You can show it. And, I think, my opinion, it's a monument that is going to stand tall for a while, because it's going to take a hell of a person to want to do it and even try to go that 101 days.
Now, that's what people say, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it falls next year. I mean, I know a handful of guys who could do the ride no problem. It's just a question of having the time, getting off work or whatever. So yeah, record's definitely going to fall. I just hope that somebody reaches out to me and wants to ride. Let's be ride with them on day 100. I think that would just be awesome.
Oh, absolutely, that would be awesome.
I was gonna announce it later, but I was gonna let everybody know that on March 1st, I'm gonna set out to break Hopper's record. So, but not the record of 100 days and 100,000 miles. I'm going to set out to break his record of staying home 7 consecutive days. So that's Hopper's record that I'm going to shoot for on March 1st. So, my wife is pretty excited about that. I'm going to give that a whirl. So we're hoping for 7 consecutive days. I'm going to be at home. So if we do that, I'm going to have a Go Riot Go shirt made, or Stop Riot Stop. So that's the only record that Riot plans to shoot for of Hoppers. So I'm gonna go for that. That's the one I know I can I got some sights on.
That's freaking good. I like it. Well, shoot, man, you guys got anything else in closing? I know, Riot, you got to pick up your wife. You're actually sitting at the airport in New Jersey waiting for your wife's flight to come in because your stuff got kind of shuffled around. Thank you for pulling off in your car and and joining us tonight as plans got shuffled.
Yeah, and the only thing I want to add to this is this was an epic ride of epic proportion that so many said couldn't be done, and that's what really at the Monsters that we really strive to do is do what people say can't be done, because that's what finding a cure for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So many people say that can't be done, but a lot of people said Hopper couldn't ride 100 days, 100,000 miles, and it happened. When I set out to do 48 states in 8 days and I wasn't going to stay on the interstate, the whole time, they said, oh, you can't do that, and we did. And, to do the whole Cahay in 10 days, people said you couldn't do that. And Hopper and I rolled across the finish line. So there's all kinds of things that are epic that can be done. And that's really what we're shooting for. And, he set the bar really high, but there's all kinds of things that, people can push themselves to do that. That's really the lesson here is just because you can't do it does not mean that it can't be done. If you can't do it, there are people out there who can really do some epic things. And it's, I want to support those people. And, what's epic for me may not be epic for Hop. He may be like, oh, that's no problem. But for me, if I did 25,000 in 25 days, I'd be super proud of that. So, the people out there that want to join the Monsters and want to do some epic shit like that, we are all about it. And epic for you, we support that as well. So, and that's really cool. So if anybody's interested in anything we got going on, you still want to donate to Hopper's cause, you can go to milemonstersinc.com. We still have the donation bar open. We're still doing really cool things for really cool kids. And I can't stress that enough, that the money we're raising, the money that Hop raised is really funding cool stuff. We've donated some money for research, and we're donating, for right now action items for these kids, vans, art supplies, PS5s. They're the hardest thing to get. They're super expensive, but they're the coolest thing for these kids because they can't go outside and, hang out with their friends like, kids without Duchenne kin. So, this way they can interact with people around the country. So all this stuff is a great cause. So, again, I'd thank Hopper for doing his ride, doing it for the Monsters. It's awesome, man. I'll be in debt to him forever. But, congratulations, Hop, on completing the ride. I never had any doubt you would do it. And congratulations on raising $100,000. That's just some epic shit that, whoever beats Hopper, I hope they beat him and donated, raising money as well. They're going to do 110,000 miles. I hope they raise $110,000 and support some worthwhile cause and, make somebody's life better. So congratulations, Hop.
Yeah. Thanks. Just kind of to reiterate what Riot said. I mean, a lot of people keep saying, he set the bar and this and that, and anything I do isn't going to live up to it or whatever. And that's not the case. I mean, if somebody wants to go out and do, 30,000 in 30 days or whatever, go do it. I mean, if that's a feat in itself to you, And it is. I mean, that's a great ride. It's not an easy ride. I mean, by all means, do it. I don't want anyone measuring, themselves to this ride or my ride. I mean, I was blessed. I got lucky. I guess God was watching over me to allow me to finish it, but that was my ride. Everyone always says, ride your ride. So go do it. Go do a 15,000 miles in 15 days or whatever it is you want to do. That if that's your ride, do it. This ride is not going to take anything away from those rides. Everyone's got a limit that they can do. You just got to figure out how to push through it if that's what you're looking for, and to do something worthwhile on your own. If you raise money doing it, great, even better. But yeah, get out there and do it. And that's kind of one of the things that someone had asked earlier about the highs and lows or whatever. I guess that was another high, is just to see the amount of people that said they were inspired to go ride more, or, hey, all these people that said, I didn't know anything about that site you stopped at. I added that to my list. I want to go check that out. So, seeing stuff like that was really cool, knowing that, because of this ride, people probably will actually ride, a little bit more than they did the year before or whatever, go see some new stuff, kind of gives them something to go see. So that was really cool to see, and see people reaching out, letting me know that.
I think in general, yourself, Hop, and Riot, you guys are very inspirational, and, really help a guy, that want to do something more. Hey, I've started this V Twin Life. Well, it'd be really neat to do something more. Maybe, I'd love to put together, a small ride, but seeing what you guys have accomplished and what you guys done, working together, doing the stuff. I'm sure it's not just me, the other people watching this, but you guys are a huge inspiration to, I think, a lot of people within the motorcycle community, that we all enjoy riding. But why not take something we enjoy and do something better to help, whether it's a person, an organization. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's great, and it wound up working out all around, being a great cause. That's why I reached out to Riot. I mean, I knew doing a ride like this, I could raise some money, but I figured, he's a lot better at it than I am, and to have someone, kind of on the back end, if you will, keeping it out there, taking care of things and all that, I think it really made a difference and really helped, and it was a great cause. And I obviously learned a lot more about it than what I knew. 2018 on the Hoka when he was raising money for Jamesy, I don't think anybody knew anything about it or what it was. And since then, I think a lot of people in the motorcycle world have come to know what it is, and a lot of awareness in at least that group. And I think this just took it a little bit further to people outside of the motorcycle riding group. A lot of other people are aware of it, and just keep kind of spreading the word. So it was I think it moved it forward a lot faster than maybe what Riot was expecting or anyone was expecting, and getting the word out there. That just the awareness is just off the charts now, I think, on what, way more than what people knew beforehand. So it was just it worked out great. So I was glad to be a part of it.
I think you're very true. I think, what you guys both doing has really, brought Duchenne's to a lot more people that would not have known about it if it wasn't for you two.
Yeah, it really has. And it really has put it, because you never know who you're going to run across. We get people that donate that have never heard of the disease, or we run across somebody who they have heard about it. But, my goal was always to raise both money and awareness. So the awareness is huge, because that translates to more people that know about it. More people can educate their kids about it. So when they run into a kid who has that, they know what they're talking about. When they hear about little Bobby at their school has Duchenne, their parents will be like, oh, that's what Riot and Hop ride for. So, this is what it's about. This is why you want to treat that kid, a little extra cool, instead of being the other side. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I do see one more question down there. I guess that Brian asked about mods and tires and all that. So tires, I run American Elites and Amsoil. As far as the mods, the only thing that I had done to the bike were the auxiliary tank, and had Olin shocks put on front and rear. Went up to see Suspended by Smarty, Carol Burks, up in the Dallas area. He took care of them. If you're I will give a shout out on that. If you're looking for shocks or whatever, he's hands down the man, and no suspensions upside and down, inside and out. It's dialed in specifically to you. He had everything fit to me perfectly. And then as the ride went on, he reached out to me and just kind of stepped up and said, "Hey, let's do this. Every 25,000 miles, swing by my shop and I'll swap them all out, have them rebuilt and put back on." So, I mean, that was unexpected. And that was just amazing. So there was no issues. And I did ask, after they did, I don't remember, it was the first or second set, because obviously, 25,000 miles in 25 days is a lot harder riding than, if you put, you take a year or two to put that on those shocks. So I asked them if there was any difference that they saw when they were rebuilding them and whatever it is they were doing, going through them and all. And he said, actually, no, it just looked normal, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that they would be able to pick out and say, oh yeah, these are the shocks that were ridden that hard. So that's a testament to the Öhlins. So I'd love to give a shout out for those. Worked out good.
That's awesome. They're almost a test for them. Yeah, it's almost a test, seeing how, you're putting them through probably more paces than what they did when it came to, testing and building everything when, this is day in, day out. You're hammering them and, they stood up, and even after time, they were still in good shape. I mean, that does say something about the quality of what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So to answer the question, yeah, everything was stock other than that. And everyone asked about the seat, stock seat with a wild ass seat cushion. That's all you need. I tell people day 100 felt just like day one. It's an amazing product. So I would definitely highly recommend it.
Tell you what, I put some time in the wild ass, and it's like I heard, first from Riot, talk about it, because I think Riot was actually the one that got me in touch with Craig when I had him on the podcast almost a year ago. And man, after spending, not near the miles that you have in one, I put in a few thousand on, and it is amazing the difference it does make in your seat. I'm fucking hell of impressed, and I won't ride without it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, look at it. There he is right now, tuning in, watching.
His ears are ringing.
Right?
Yeah. Well, guys, Riot, thanks for tuning in from the airport. Hop, I know you said, you're in a hotel in North Carolina, taking time out and hanging out. Hey, guys, thank you so much, for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us. I always like talking about it. It's a great time and good cause. So yeah, definitely don't mind reaching out and talking to everyone about it.
Sweet. Well, hey, you guys hang around for a minute. Hey, guys, thanks for, tuning in to another live here on the V-Twin Life. This has been awesome. I know this is one I've been looking forward to. And, Riot and Hop, these guys are doing amazing things, what they're doing together and what they're doing, the fight that they're taking on. So it was awesome getting to share all the stories with you guys. And stay tuned. Wednesday, we'll have Bri the Biker and Harley Fat Boy Jr. coming live Wednesday night. A little bit of shenanigans and talking bikes. So, hey, guys, stay safe, have fun, man. Enjoy the open road.